Well, what are we fixing today? Well, today I thought of, well, actually last night I saw something. I was helping a couple people on Discord with their Tasmota issues, and I thought I would come up with the 5 things that you should be doing after you flash your device with Tasmota. But most of them you probably aren't. So I'm going to go through what those 5 things are, why you should do them, why it's a good thing. Let's get right to it. Hi, here we are at the desk, and yes, I have a webcam, so it looks a little better, I hope, instead of, this is what I was using before, and it doesn't even have a video output. I had to put cards in, and sorry. Alright, so I don't know if I got the positioning right and everything, so bear with me, please. The first thing we're going to talk about, what you should be doing after you flash your Tasmota device, is Reset 5. Reset 5 is here. What Reset 5 is basically you do your flash of the device, you add your Wi-Fi information, and then you do a Reset 5. What Reset 5 does is clear all the rest of the memory except for the main program that Tasmota knows about, and the Wi-Fi information. Clears all the other registers and everything else. It's just like if you ever get a new computer, you don't want the setup that the old people had, the prior people had. You want to know where you're at. So you want to do a default firmware configuration. That's what you're doing here. You're setting everything else to the default, because I have had instances, and I have seen other instances online where the device starts doing stuff that you're not telling it to do. It does, like, you tell it to turn something on and it won't, or turn something else on, or something doesn't work. In my case, it was something like that. It just wouldn't do what it was supposed to be doing, and I was pulling my hair out, and then I decided to do a Reset 5, put the firmware back on. I didn't have to put the firmware back on, but I put all my information back in, like my MQTT broker and stuff, and then it all worked fine. So the recommendation is, if you flash something, especially if it had Tuya on it or some other software on it, the Sonoff stuff, the Shelly stuff, do Reset 5. If you look at the browser page for Tasmota for Reset 5, these are all the reset commands that exist, and you might find some of these other ones useful. Okay, that's fine. The one working on today, want you to do today is this one, Reset 5. I was circling the OBS screen instead of, okay. It's all new to me. We'll get there. You want to do this, Reset 5. Well, that's the first thing you should always do after you flash a device. The next thing is templates. And actually, you should be looking at the template directory before you buy a device. If you know what you're buying, fine. If you're not sure what you're buying, you might want to come in here, and if you see, there's all, just about every device that can be flashed is listed in here, and people are adding them all the time. There's 1,300 supported devices, all submitted by users. There's also, down here, a big list of unsupportable things with things that just have a different CPU, whatever. There's a new CPU out there. These are the recent things that are found like that, including one Sonoff, and that little Sonoff thing for the USB. That one you can't flash either. So, come in here and look and make sure it does what you want. Now, just because you can't flash it doesn't mean you can't use it. You can still use it on Tuya. There's a Tuya connection to Home Assistant. You could probably still use it. But if you want to flash Tasmota, which is what we're talking about today, you don't want any of these little buggers here. And once you get it, you also want to make sure when you're looking at your devices that it's something that you think you can handle if you're trying to convert it into Home Assistant. And I didn't flip this back, did I? Browser. Here is, let's go back over here. This is the Tasmota folder, Tasmota Blackadders folder. These are all, there's like 1,300 devices here that you can look at, and it's all submitted by users. And if you look down here, there's a list of unsupportable. These things are all things with different, like here's a 433 plug, can't flash that. There's other things like this Sonoff here has a different CPU. The little USB thing has a different CPU from Sonoff. So there's things that you can flash. Doesn't mean they're not useful. You just have to use them with their native firmware and then try to import that into HA if you want to keep it for HA. But if you want to flash stuff, and that's what we're talking about today, you don't want one of those. And you also want to make sure that you can handle the device that you're going to buy. This is a device that I was helping somebody with the other day, and it's kind of a complicated doodad here. It's a tea kettle, which is cool, and it's on Tuya, which is cool, and you may want to leave it there because but if you don't, what you do is you take this here, you copy this out, you go into your Tasmota web interface into options, and you paste this whole string in there, and then you hit activate. Don't forget to hit activate. If you don't hit activate, it doesn't actually do what you think it does, so always hit activate, and then it'll reboot, and away it goes. But for instance, this kettle, if you want to get this into Home Assistant and connect to it, it has a lot of functions. It has a secondary MCU. It has codes for all this stuff, configuration codes here, Tuya send commands, rules that you'll need. Here's the stuff for Home Assistant. These are the sensors. You see what I mean? There's a lot going on here. If you can handle it, fine. If you want to take it on as a challenge, awesome. I did the same thing with the little nebulizer, which I'm still fighting with. But just make sure that you can handle it before you buy it and then cry because you flashed Tasmota on it and it can't get it to work anymore. That wouldn't be good. Okay. The next thing that you should always look at and do that you probably don't is to look at this fast recovery option. Starting with Tasmota 8.31, it's better. And I'll show you why. What it was up until then was if you had a brownout or something that would simulate 4 power drops just below threshold in a row, the device would reset. It would be like, I forget which reset it is, but it like wipes everything and brings you back into AP mode. It's not the reset 5. It's another one of those resets that just blanks everything, including the Wi-Fi. So if you have a whole house full of these, they have SetOption65 set in its default condition enabled, and you had a brownout, your whole house might start flashing in AP mode and none of your switches will work, which would suck. So let's go over there. This is option 65, and you can see it says the same thing over there, but here there's a link to this, and it describes fast power cycle option. So in the new version, this is what it does. In order to use this, you have to have it enabled, which is 0. Set option 65 0. The power has to be off the device for 30 seconds, which wasn't there before as a safeguard. And then you have to do the 6 times on, and then it'll activate, and it should be firmware defaults and in AP mode. So if you've got something like a bulb which can't be serial flashed, this might be a good thing, because it might be the only way you can recover a device if something happens, if you forget the Wi-Fi password or whatever. But if you have the backup as a serial flashing ability, I would just take option 65 out of the picture for all of these. So All mine, I have one bulb. Even that bulb has got 65 off. So I don't like this option. Can you tell? All right. Number 4. Time. Did you know that your Tasmota device has a clock? Have you looked at the console when those messages scrolling by and there's some numbers there? You know, if you're trying to fix something, or trying to figure out when something happened, you're trying to look at it and diagnose it, and if that clock ain't set, it's really hard to figure out what's going on. Also, I have one device that's a plug that powers a light for my plants. And if you set the time up like I show you here, it knows when it's sunrise and then knows when it's sunset. And it's very accurate. It works very well. You don't need Home Assistant. You don't need any YAML. You just come in here and set this, and then you go to timer and say, so long from sunrise and so long from sunset, and you can have the thing turning itself on and off, and you don't care if there's a cloud. But in order to set it up, I'm going to give you this that I have here. This is my stuff right here that I use. Almost. I have a different NTP server, and my longitude and latitude isn't quite this. This is actually a longitude and latitude of the Milwaukee Harley Davidson Museum. So please go visit me there and look at the cool motorcycles. That's a great place to be. But anyway, that's about 30 miles from my house, so they ain't gonna help you find me much. You get the right state. So if you look here, TimeDST 02312 minus 300. See what that is? 02312 minus 300. So this explains what each of these things are, and this setup is taking care of my clock. It takes care of daylight savings time when it's supposed to, and it's adjusting to, it's adjusting to the correct time zone. So if you could just put time zone in there, it will also work. I bypass time zone so I can use daylight savings time. But putting in time zone will not do daylight savings time for you. Just the way it's set up. Now, did I have something in the web browser for that? Let's see. Yeah. So this is the same kind of stuff in here. This is in the Tasmota GitHub, so you can look at that there. Time zone is not 99. It's not used. DST is not used. Okay, so like I said, take a look at that down there. Up there. Well, this is really freaky. I got a point. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. That's fun. Next, let's look at the 5th one. The 5th one is restart. Now, if you haven't noticed, and you don't do anything special for your Tasmota devices on restart, when you restart, you have to wait for the 3 minutes or whatever timing, if it happens, for the device to phone home and tell the broker to tell Home Assistant that, oh, I'm in this state, and just things come up and they're in odd states and it looks ugly and it's weird. This is how you fix that. Yeah, point the other way. Point the wrong way. This is how you fix that. This is a automation that I put in my system. So let's go through it. You put in an ID here. It just can be anything, but I always use a UUID because you can get them free off the internet, and that's a number that is unique. Give it a name. Initial power state. This is the initial state of the automation. It means that when Home Assistant reboots, that automation will always be on. So you want this on. It does not say that the output of the automation is on. It says that the automation is enabled. The trigger is when Home Assistant starts. So every time it starts, one of the first things it does is publish an MQTT message, and this is the one for the current firmwares. Topic, command, state, payload, blank. And what this does is it pokes every switch and sensor that you have out there, and it says, hey, tell me about yourself. All that data feeds back in live to Home Assistant, and then when it comes back, it uses that information to fill your screens, and everything is correct. Isn't that awesome? If you have old Tasmota devices, version 6.0 loaded and not any of the version 7 or version 8 firmware that's current, if you have 5 or 6 or something, then you need to do Sonoffs instead of Tasmotas. And that is because they changed the name at version 7. So that's why it happened that way. What do you think? These things useful and helpful to you? Well, that's my video for today. I hope to help you out. These things are, not essential, but certainly will make your life easier in the world of Tasmota as you go forward. So, thanks for watching. If I've helped you out at all, please give me a like. Likes are good. Subscribers are good. I have a link here somewhere for subscribers if you would like to subscribe to my channel. And I got some other videos for you to watch too if if you're bored or want to learn something or whatever. Hey, thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye.